Hello, my name is Ben and welcome to my channel. I'm here today to talk about how the iPhone 4S stands up after 2 years. Now, the iPhone 4S came out in late 2011 and we're now just entering 2014. And it's interesting to see how this device still holds up. I'm going to go down some bullet points and talk about a couple of categories in relation to how the hardware holds up. And I'm also going to even talk about how the software holds up, so hold on for that. First, I'm going to talk about the screen quality, and hand in hand with that goes screen size. Now, the screen quality on the iPhone 4S, it's a Retina display, and it still looks very nice even to this day. It looks fantastic. Viewing angles are superb. The color reproduction is almost perfect. The amount of contrast is just it's just very, very good. And so I'd say that the screen quality is right up there with the top phones, at least with this sort of display. And the screen size. Now this is something which has come under much fire over the last couple of years and is in fact a reason why I think a lot of people in the US haven't been buying as many iPhones. The screen size, it's a little small. And what I mean by it's a little small is sometimes when you're navigating web pages, even when they're the mobile website, they can seem a little cramped. Although Apple does do a really good job of making sure that web pages that are even on this small of a screen size, feel feature rich and feel easy to navigate. They're not quite there with navigating on other devices. I think other devices need more optimization, but there are websites which come up on the iPhone different than they come up on any other phone, and it's to really take advantage of the screen size. And I really appreciate what Apple's done with that, because it's meant that even though this has a small screen size, you don't really feel it. It's a very, very good screen. So it's a little small, but Apple makes up for it with their software. Next, I want to talk about sound quality. The sound quality coming out of this device I actually found to be superb. It was loud, clear. I could hear it even across a small room, unless there was a whole bunch of other noise. So sound quality definitely holds up well, and headphones play same as any other phone. That's pretty much the same across the board. Next, speed. The iPhone 4S is still quite a quick product. It's not really fast. It's not as fast as the newer iPhones, but for how old it is, it's very, very quick. I had a Droid Razr, the original one, up until about March of last year, and it wasn't anywhere near this fast, even though it cost more on contract and came out at the same time. And that's just a real testament to how much great optimizing that Apple's been able to do with their hardware, because it holds up great, it looks great. I never really felt like I was using a 2-year-old product, other than if I had on a cell network using it with the data, because it doesn't have 4G. That's the only reason I would hesitate to recommend it today. Next, the operating system I was just talking about. It's been updated to iOS 7. It's going to have support for at least another year, so the operating system is very good because they've kept it updated. It's also snappy. It works well on the phone. It's not like with Android phones where they update them and they don't necessarily work the best, or with Windows phones where the updates aren't pushed out from Microsoft like they are from Apple, so that they go out to all devices at the same time. This is a very good operating system experience. The operating system works well. The screen size doesn't matter as much because it's much more made for this screen size. Next, I want to talk about the cameras. The cameras, it's really kind of a two-tail. The camera on the front is okay. It doesn't have a very wide field of view compared to other phones which I've used, like the Nokia HTC recent phones from last year with a wide-angle front-facing lens, which I actually have found to be very, very useful. So in that way, I think the front-facing camera is a little bit of a disappointment. It could use some more resolution. It could use some more viewing space, but it's okay for how old it is. And the rear-facing camera, I'd also say is okay. I would have expected it to be worse, honestly, for being this old of a phone. But the rear camera, the quality actually holds up quite well. It's slightly better than my Droid Razor's camera was, and it's right about there with your kind of average or free phones that you can get nowadays. But anything from the $100 to $200 range on a contract is definitely going to make this camera feel a little bit old. But it's not as bad as you might think for being so old. I'd say for free phones, this is among the best camera you can get on one. And lastly is battery life. The battery life on the iPhone 4S is fairly well. I've just been using this on Wi-Fi, and it's been able to last me a day and a half easily, even with heavy usage, 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. It'll still last a day and a half. So the battery life I found to be quite good, quite good. Nothing amazing, but it definitely could be a lot worse, especially with other phones that I've used. And that's really all there is to say. I mean, if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. It's been a real joy using the iPhone 4S again, and it's a fun phone. If you're thinking about getting a phone on contract, it's not a bad buy, especially with their resale value. But, you know, feel free to ask me if you want a personal recommendation. Anyway, please feel free to rate, comment, favorite, or subscribe, and have a nice day.